There we are.
Hey Dez, how are you, man?
Good. What's happening, man?
Mate, look at that look at that neon light. That makes mine look piss weak. Look at that.
It says the Oracle. It's our management company.
That's unreal.
The B is our symbol because bees are the consummate workers, and that's us because we're pull long hours and take our management company very seriously. So and then this is kind of the room where the family all hangs out in. There's a pool table and pinball machines and video game that Al Jurgensen from Ministry gave me back there, signed it to the family with the big Ministry Anarchy sign on it, and a bunch of tiki mugs everywhere around me. And yeah, yeah.
That's unreal.
So on Sundays we get together as a family, and it's kind of mandatory to be at the house. An Italian thing,
Yeah.
and I'll be here for a couple hours on Sunday. And so this is where we'll gather and hang out, play pool.
Oh man, my youth, I worked in an Italian restaurant as a kid,
Ah,
and they invited me to their family dues. Man, they would walk a pig in, kill it. We'd be eating it by 10 a.m. I know that's not the nicest thing to hear. I know you're a vegan, but mate, I walked in there. I walked in there a skinny teenager, and I walked out of there a much larger man. So
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I,
I'll still cook everything for my family. And what I don't force my beliefs on anyone, but I think that you got to always have some place in the house like to gather, and this is it right here. So, and then I'm sitting actually at a bar right now that was from the Mayan Theater in downtown LA from the 70s.
oh
And I've got
wow,
a picture of Frank Sinatra sitting at this bar because it was in the VIP room of the Mayan, which is in, like I said, in downtown Los Angeles. So I had a guy procure this for me. And people say, "Well, you're sober. Why do you have a bar?" I said, "Because I always have a lot of people at my house." And the best way to keep my crew and everybody else out of the kitchen, which is behind me, is keep them in this room and keep them at the bar.
How did you get that? How did you get that bar?
I got a friend of mine. Well, I'm Italian. I got a guy. So I
Yeah,
got a guy that
yeah.
actually called me and said, "You're not going to believe what I have," and sent me a photo of it. And I said, "Drive to my house right now." And it's beautiful. It's actually it's like a gold color. It's incredible. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I said, I worked for Joe, and then I worked for the other Joe, and I worked for one member in the Italian family. I ended up working for all of them. I did concrete, and I was a cabinet maker.
Yeah.
A jack of all trades by the time I finished high school. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And be careful of the favors you receive or give.
no, it was all good. It was all food anyway. So
Yeah.
it's a
Good.
good thing, man. I got to let you know, I'm calling from work. I'm a tattooist by trade. That's my day job. I'm calling you from
I
work.
know.
We've
I
got,
know nothing. I know nothing about tattoos. I
man, I've got to ask you about like I remember like I went to school in the '90s. It's that '90 to '95, and I remember like Chili Peppers, like the early '90s. It was Chili Peppers and Rollins. Like it was sort of a smattering of tattoos, and then in the mid '90s there was Anselmo and Cavalera. They were getting work by Paul Booth. That was my introduction to Paul Booth,
That's
and
Paul
then
Booth
you.
right there. That's Paul
Oh
Booth.
fuck yeah! He's my favorite tattooist in the world, man.
I got a
That's
great Paul Booth. So remind me to tell you my Paul Booth story after this.
tell me now, man. But I remember the late '90s. I remember then you guys come out like sort of at '97, and you had that face tattoo, and it was the first time. Like we grew up, like we're a stone's throw from New Zealand. It was the first time I'd seen a face tattoo that wasn't that Maori cultured tattoo. Like the face tattoos, the Aztec stuff. So, and that was my introduction to that Chicano culture, that Aztec, which you guys, along with maybe Cypress Hill, that was my
Yeah.
introduction to the word loco and all that sort of stuff, man. So,
Yeah. So
uh,
obviously, I have a Mexican guitar player, Miguel Rascon, born in
yeah,
Mexico. I was raised in San Juan Capistrano in Orange County, literally on the other side of the tracks. I was the only white kid in my school, or one of them, only white kid on my soccer team. So I grew up in and around the Hispanic culture, thus my love for lowriders. I mean, I have a
mm,
78 Cadillac lowrider. Actually, it was in the movie Casino, the yellow one, and it's getting bags put in it right now. So I love lowrider culture. I have lowrider magazines all over my house. If I'm at home, I'm wearing Dickies and I'm, you know, it's what I was raised around, right? And I think that um, in that culture that tattoos are a big deal, right? The guys that I saw hanging out, you know, when I was riding my bike around my neighborhood, the guys hanging out working on their cars or just hanging out having a 40 sitting in front of the house or what have you, those dudes were all tattooed. You know, and it's always like, oh, when I get older, I'm going to get tattooed. You know what I mean? And when I first got just the 2 lines, which is just what it was, is 2 lines and a dot. I remember Rob Zombie commenting to my wife before she was my wife that she was married to Crazy Dez. So, and now really look at it now. I mean, the local kid at my bank, his whole fucking face is completely tattooed. You know, back in the day, you couldn't get a job. You couldn't, you know, if you were tattooed on the face, you couldn't get a job. I mean, when I was young, if your hair, you know, I had a mohawk at one point, a blue mohawk, I couldn't get into Disneyland. Like,
really?
So look where it is now. I love the fact that first of all, you're in a business that I love. I love tattoo and tattoo culture. I trust a guy with tattoos all over him rather than just a suit that doesn't have any, because it's you're wearing your heart on your skin, and I can see you. Oh, hi, I know you now. You know, we're all from the same tribe, right? I did this to just say, no, fuck you. I'm never going back into society. When in fact, I could easily go back into society with this now compared to where I see everybody else. You know, we were somewhere yesterday. I don't know where it was. My wife stopped in somewhere. I was getting some Christmas stuff, like, you know, for the house. And the girl that was checking me out had not one bit of skin on her face.
Right, really?
And it was beautiful, actually, like fucking like stunning. And I was like, man, you know, I'm so stoked they hired you. I think it was even Walmart, probably, you know. And I was like, I'm so happy they hired you. And she goes, oh, look, and she had a friend of hers that they hired as well. It was completely tatted, and I was like, So whereas one man does something that's like, you know, oh, this is from gang culture or jail culture or homie culture or rock culture or I'm not ever going back in society culture or what have you. It all changes, evolves, and look where it's at now. It's very acceptable, you know, in most places in the world. I mean, I still go to Japan and still get kind of by the older people, still get kind of you know, if I'm checking into a hotel, you know, a little.
Well,
you can see it.
Yeah, our boss just recently got back from Japan, and he said he was worried about it because he is heavily tattooed, but it didn't concern him one bit. He was even there. There's like the rising youth culture it's like everywhere. It's accepted. Same in Philippines. I was in Philippines years ago, and there was that they were right on the brink of it being unacceptable to becoming acceptable, and now it's a roaring trade. There's some of the best artists in the world are coming out of there right now. So
yeah. I mean, you know, what's really cool is to see like in the Philippines, in Thailand, and in Japan, Chicano lowrider culture is absolutely fucking taking off. And I had a guy write me completely tattooed, like looked like he was from East Los Angeles, but he's Japanese guy, and he's like, hey, just so you know, when we ride our lowriders, like we listen to Loco from Coal Chamber.
Oh, wow.
I was like, and actually I just got like, see my arms. I mean, I just got goosebumps. I was like, ride, brother, like badass, you know? So I think when all of us bands came up, we all had something that was different. You know, I think, you know, if you had Korn that came out, they were more rap influenced. You had, you know, Coal Chamber come out. We were more kind of goth street culture influenced. System, obviously, very influenced by their Armenian culture. Right. And so everybody had something, but we were very attached to that kind of East Los Angeles, Southgate crews that used to come to our early shows and make early Coal Chamber shows, like some of the most dangerous in the 90s.
Wow.
Right. So and so we're talking about this right now because that was heavily influenced by tattoos. I mean, I had Fafara across my stomach. Looked very gang orientated. It wasn't. He had Rascon tattooed, my guitar player, across his stomach. That was like almost like a no-no or a, you know, are you from gang culture type shit? You know, and in our own little world, we were like, fuck yeah, we are, but we weren't, obviously. You know? Right. But we had a lot of those cats coming out. I had to stop a lot of the shows. Actually, at the Whiskey, I stopped. There was a famous one. It's on YouTube where I just said, that's it. And I stopped the whole show because it was like, blood on the dance floor. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So, and I think, you know, in talking about Cold Chamber tattoo culture, people should know that like that's where that's the early youth of what Cold Chamber did. Was a lot of the Southgate crew came out, and they're deadly.
Heavily tattooed, yeah. Yeah, well,
Heavily
that's it. Like I remember, like you were saying, like the guys are coming, like there's not an inch of skin that isn't tattooed. They got whatever they've got on their faces. Now that I have to turn away 18-year-olds who want a face tattoo as their first tattoo, and I'm like, I appreciate it, guys, but get everything else done first before you go, because I think here there's still that a little bit of stigma, not so much, but I know tradesmen like carpenters and all that sort of stuff. Like if you walk in with a face tattoo and you're 17 and 18, he's going to go get a job somewhere else, you know. So
You know,
I,
look, it's still very persuasive. I mean, pervasive.
of
That whole thing is still very pervasive.
course it is.
It's a form of, for me, it's a form of racism. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
the saying no.
why are you judging a person because they have tattoos? Like,
Oh, I agree.
and maybe they have gang tattoos. I mean, maybe they did some shit in their youth that's fucked up, but they've now come through the cycle and they're on another path to life. I think I'd rather talk to somebody like that and say, hey, why, you know, hey, you're 18, you want to do this carpenter job. Why you got all these tattoos? And the kid's like, I fucked up. Or, hey, man, that's my dad's name. That's my mom's initial. And you're like, oh, good kid, come work for me. So always have conversations with someone that's like that and tattooed like that, you know?
Always, man. Look, it's one of those. It's, to be honest, it's one of those juggling acts I have. Like I'm like, because it is a massive step, you know, to me. And I still hold. I was taught by a really old school bloke, and he was like, before you go get these extreme tattoos, get everything else. And even myself, like I've got that, but I've been doing this for 15 years, and I still look like a school teacher, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I love it, man. I
Yeah.
love tattoos, and when people come in fully immersed in them, it's striking to me. Like it's
Yeah.
like you said, it's beautiful.
I mean, I can see where you would tell, you know, a 17 or an 18-year-old kid, like, hey, I'm not going to do that. You know,
Yeah,
I could see it. And you've got to do what's right for you, because in essence, you're the artist. They want art on them, but you're the artist. You're going to know that if you think you fucked up that kid's life, maybe you're going to fuck up that kid's life by putting a tattoo on their face. So, I mean, I get it. But I mean, now I look around and it's like, I'm heavily tattooed, all my chest, my stomach, my back, my arms, my legs have a few, but I'm getting ready to go for it real hard on my legs. My chin, obviously, I just got the devil driver symbol on me as well.
yep,
And like, this nothing compared to what the fuck is going on. I mean,
yeah.
any thought Post Malone has in his fucking mind that day, he tattoos it on his face. Wrong. You know, you know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just, and then if you've ever seen tattoo removal, like hell yeah, they can do it. I've had some friends of mine that are gang members that got gang tattoos removed. You can't even see them anymore.
Yeah,
So, you know, I don't highly recommend that though, as it's no
it
doubt.
fucking hurts.
It hurts getting them, it hurts removing them, and it possibly hurts wanting to get them because there might be some reason you're getting it as well. Somebody passed away, some memorial, what have you. You know what I mean? Tattoos for me has always been that. I've got a lot of Mayan work. I've got a lot of cover-up work. I've got a name that's a cover-up right there.
Yeah.
So I always say names. You might want to stay away. Then again, I got my wife's name on my hand. We've been together 20 years. So, you know, thank God. But you know, you want to be careful. You know, I have 110% tattooed on my knuckles, and actually got stopped by a cop coming through a certain
area.
Yeah. And was like, hey, I see the percent, and that's all he saw.
Oh wow.
At 1%. And I was like, bro, no, it's 110%. By the way, there's no gang that's that. Like, that's me. 110% on everything I fucking do.
It's funny. You must have had eagle eyes to find that one little thing on your whole body.
Well, he's looking at my passport, right? So he's looking at my hands.
Okay.
Right. Hey, go over here. We want to have a conversation. I went, fuck, man. You know, that's cool. Whatever. You know. So
and it's It's amazing that Chicano culture has taken off worldwide. I cut my teeth doing bug flash and all that sort of stuff, and like you
Yeah.
said, in Japan, and here in Australia, like that started as something that I'd only just heard about listening to music, and now it's worldwide. Which brings us to, like, you guys are coming down to Australia with fucking Mudvayne. That is huge. That is
We did huge summer shows with them, right? Well, we just
yeah,
did a big amphitheater run with them. I don't know how
yeah.
many shows, 30, I don't even fucking know, 36 shows, something like that. And
Unreal.
it was absolutely incredible. Like when we came on stage, deafening, just deafening sound.
Yeah,
So we knew that, okay, if we come down, we would like this package to come down. AJ hit us. AJ is a very close family
yep,
friend. Him and Joe, his wife, very close to my wife and I, like very, very close, not just business close, like we're friends.
yeah,
And
awesome.
so when I knew he was going to be involved and Mudvayne was in, my whole group said, yeah, let's go, you know. So we're at top form right now. Some of those shows that I saw from this summer on YouTube, I watched a couple of them. We are absolutely slamming it harder
Yep.
than we ever have. I think, look, part and parcel, I haven't had a drink of alcohol since 2016. Those guys
Awesome.
are obviously not on the things that mess them up
Yeah, yeah.
in the past. And we are all in this thing that's like where it should be. I've said this in another interview. It's like we're just now getting ready to get started. Like
Isn't that amazing?
it is. And we've turned down more tours than we've taken because we want
Wow.
to take it slow. We want to do only the right things. Everybody has families and other things going on as well. We don't want to burn it out. We want to make sure that it comes out and does the right thing. Coming to Australia with Mudvayne is absolutely a great move. And to come underneath AJ is fantastic.
Yeah.
So for me, knowing that he's back in the game as a promoter is like, he's the guy on the block I trust. And like
Absolutely.
I don't trust many people, you know. So
But I know, like, you guys come down with AJ for Soundwave in 2012. You had a couple of sound issues. I had to ask. You were on stage saying, "If you don't fix this fucking sound, I'm going to kill you." I'd like to know where that sound guy is buried.
we had some significant sound problems that day with everybody.
Yeah,
And when it came time for us, and I was having the same issues, I usually don't let anybody see me sweat. I mean,
yeah,
maybe 4 times in my whole life, I've said something on stage to a worker
yeah.
around me. No, I'm not that kind of guy. There's a lot of musicians,
No.
there's a lot of singers that will just wing shit at the monitor guy, and I'm
Wow.
not that guy. But I was getting tired of it. I was like, this is a huge gig. You need to get it right. Oddly enough, right as soon as I said it, if you remember, the sound kicked in and
It
we had
did.
a great rest of our show.
Yeah,
But the rule really is in fucking life in general, never let them see you fucking sweat.
yeah.
Don't ever let them bring you down to their level. And at that point, I lost my mind.
No, it was entertaining. I got to say, and I remember, I think High on Fire were on earlier, and their sound just blew out and blew out, and we saw him walking around in the crowd, and we're like, that's unfair, and he's like, shit happens, He was
Yeah, well,
cool about it.
I was watching High on Fire when their sound was fucked up.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, Matt Pike, one of the best guitar players ever was, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh man.
And backstage, humble, fucking blue collar. This is the kind of guy like I am. He's got no fucking ego about him whatsoever. You know what I mean? When you meet guys like that, you go out and you watch their shows. But I was watching his show and I remember going, oh man, God, I hope the sound doesn't sound like that for us. I was like, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I,
So
I
they had
just
some.
felt I just felt sorry for Paul Meeks. He was sitting there like it was, most of it was in his corner. You poor bastard. Because I'd waited 15 years to see you guys, and
Yeah. I
but
mean,
you know
it's
what?
hard, right? It's hard, right? Like he's a guitar player, one, and he's carrying the whole situation, and the sound is all fucked up. I've seen Meigs pull off some amazing shit. I mean, even this summer, we had some stuff go down on stage where he just fucking kept his composure, man. Not a drop of sweat. But I'm looking at him like, are you hearing that? Like in your in-ears? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm hearing that. And it's like, do we just keep going? Fucking keep
Fuck
going. And then we keep
yeah.
going, and 50 seconds later, which is a lifetime on stage,
Oh
it
yeah.
goes away. And it was just some interference. You're too close to an airport. Someone else is sound checking their shit. behind you, what have you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the rule is never let them see you sweat. So if you saw that and I let them see me sweat, then it's a fucking
Nah,
it's a rare thing.
not a bead of sweat, Des. Oh, fuck, man. I could talk to you for hours, but I've got to pull the pin. I've done my 20. We spent 15 minutes
Yeah,
talking about
go ahead, bro.
tattoos.
I got another one coming, but if you got another question or two, we can holler it off real quick.
I mean, the only thing I was like, because I remember you guys like coming out, like you hit the gates right, and you were doing like Ozfest in the late '90s. You know, these killer shows, and I remember seeing that, and like it looked very much like a young man's game. But these days, I'm going to shows, and I know it's the same with you guys. You've got fathers and sons. You've got parents bringing their kids to Coal Chamber shows now. Same with Devil Driver. How is that for you to know that you've now become a generational band? Is
I
that
mean, it's insane. It's humbling, right? And the thing is we started touring with Black Sabbath around the world in soccer stadiums, Pantera around the world multiple times. Like we
Yep.
thank those bands for helping us out. We try to help bands out, right? And how is it to see those fans coming out? I mean, it's crazy. We did meet and greets, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there looking at like, how old are you? Like you're 21. You're pierced up. You're wearing Janko pants. You look like you're from fucking 1994, and you're coming to our meet and greet. And you got
Yeah.
four of their friends with you that are dressed like us, and they're shaking. Where did you fucking find us? Oh, my older brother. Oh, YouTube or this and that. Watching the scene come back the way that it is has been amazing, absolutely amazing. And we're not going to take it for granted. We're going to go out there and give people the best Coal Chamber they can possibly have. And that's what we're going to come down under and do is give you guys the best Coal Chamber that you've ever fucking seen. And we're going to walk off going, that's right. We just did that to you.
Fucking amazing. I
And
cannot wait, man.
I want the floor to be insane. I hope people
Oh,
come with arm pads on, to be honest with you.
yeah. Well, I looked at that, and there's a couple of shows coming up at that time, and I've got to hit the gym, so I'm ready for that show. I, I can't.
Look, man, at my age, that's all I do is hit the fucking gym, man. So go hit the
Yeah,
gym. It's good. It's good for you. And we're looking forward to seeing you down under. I hope to catch you in person. If you get a chance to come backstage, come say hello. Tell everybody I said hello. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Got a little insight to kind of the background of my life and Coal Chamber's life, and especially through tattoos or through Vato culture as well, because that's obviously significantly attached to Loco and to Coal Chamber and always will be. So, yeah, great talking to you, and I hope to see you soon.
man. I'll see you when you're here in February, Des. And a genuine honor to talk to you, brother.
Thank you, brother.